Greetings and welcome back, Carnivores, to Carnivore Confidential. I'm Dougie the Butcher. Today I've got an eye of round that I'm going to make into jerky. I know we've done that before, but I made some cowboy candy the other day, which is candied jalapeno peppers in a simple syrup with apple cider vinegar. Anyway, I used frozen jalapenos that a buddy of mine had given me from his garden. And when I thawed them out and cut them up, they were kind of mushy. The flavor's there. The cowboy candy flavor is there, but the texture of the jalapenos is not. It's kind of off-putting, so I've decided I'm going to use that as a marinade for my beef jerky. So come on upstairs, let's get busy with that. I'm going to clean up an eye of round and slice it up and get it in a marinade, and we'll check back in a few days. I'm going to leave it in the fridge for probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 days. I'm going to massage the bags to make sure that each piece of meat gets some marinade love on it. And come on back and we'll do the dehydrating portion of it and let you see what's going on there. So thanks for hanging out and stay hungry. If you're new to my channel, please like, share, and subscribe. All the good stuff. Thanks very much. Stay hungry, guys. Greetings and welcome back. Like I said downstairs, I've got an eye of round here that I'm going to clean up, take all the fat and silver skin off, and then we're going to turn it into jerky. At any rate, I'm going to bring in for a close-up so you can see what I'm doing here, and then we'll get busy and start cutting jerky. Stay with me. I'm going to glove up for safety, and we'll get busy. I'm not going to be too careful with trimming here because I'm going to save the fat, any trim for ground beef. So if you see me being a little willy-nilly with the knife, that's because I don't really care how careful I'm being removing the fat from the lean. It is important when you're making jerky to get all of the silver skin and fat off, just simply because you don't want to render that fat in your dehydrator. This heavy silver skin on this end right here, this heavy silver skin on this end, the stuff I just removed, that's where the eye of round is attached to the hip bone or the H bone. The eye of round, of course, is your hamstring. In human anatomy, it's your hamstring. Okay, there we have one clean hamstring. Or eye of round, if you will. Now, I'm not sure if you can see or not, but the grain runs this way. So I want to cut my jerky this way. So I'm going to cut it into chunks. Like about so. And then we're just going to go ahead and start cutting some jerky up. And of course we'll fast forward through this because this is the tedious part of this job. This is still a tad frozen on the inside, which makes it nicer, or easier rather, to slice thinly like this. If you wanted real even slices, I could have broken out my restaurant slicer. So I have a big meat slicer downstairs, a restaurant quality. Well, it came from a restaurant actually. A friend of mine owned a restaurant and she closed it, so I bought her slicer from her. But if you wanted really consistent slices, you could break that out. But for this job, I'm not going to bother, just simply because it's a pain in the butt to clean that thing, and it's not that big a job. All right, there you have it. an entire eye of round cleaned up and sliced into jerky. Now the next step is to get it in marinating in the Ziploc bags, and I'll bring you back for that. All right, like I said, I've got my Cowboy Candy here, which is just basically candied jalapenos in a simple syrup with apple cider vinegar. But what's more importantly, in order to cure meat, specifically when you're doing jerky, you should always use a Prague powder number 1, and you can get that online. Oh, and you're supposed to use 1 level teaspoon per 5 pounds of meat, and I've got about 5 pounds of meat here, so I've got a level teaspoon in there. And I'm just going to add my Cowboy Candy to it, mix it up. Then we get this stuff in Ziploc bags and stuff it away in the fridge. I'm thinking this is going to make a really good jerky. So I'm going to separate this into 2 Ziploc bags. Now we'll get all that good stuff in there. Half and half, hopefully. And save a little piece. Save a little piece for my dogs. I'm going to massage this meat in the marinade, and then I'm going to try and exclude as much of the oxygen as possible by squeezing it out of the bag. But in the meantime, I want to try and incorporate this Cowboy Candy marinade throughout the whole bag. And that's going to take a little bit of time, so I don't need to bore you with that. And just squeeze the air out of it as much as possible. Like so. And there we go. 2 bags of marinade. 2 bags of marinated eye of round cut into beef jerky. That's going into the fridge for maybe 3-4 days. And like I said, I'm going to massage these bags every day just to move the marinade around. And I'll bring you back for the dehydrating portion of this video. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. All right, the day has come where we are going to dehydrate my pieces of jerky, and I'm just going to lay them out on my drying rack here. Remember in the other jerky video that I did, I told you that these pieces could be touching each other, but they can't be overlapping. So with that in mind, I'm gonna get busy laying these out. I'm going to be dehydrating them in my my combination food dehydrator slash air fryer slash, what do you call it, convection oven. And I'm going to be doing that at 170 degrees for 4 hours. You'll notice that some of these pieces are kind of thick. I cut them thick on purpose because the last time I cut them too thin, and when I dehydrated them, they just turned into little chips. So these ones are going to have some meatiness to them. Now, I'm really hoping for good things from this marinade, because like I said before, it started off its life as my friend's Cowboy Candy recipe, and I used frozen peppers, and the consistency of the peppers was really mushy. I didn't like it, so I turned the whole marinade into jerky marinade. Well, actually, I didn't turn it into anything. I just used it as a jerky marinade instead of a sweet pickle candy cure for the jalapenos. So I'm hoping for good things from this. Maybe one more piece. There we go. Now the last thing to do is put them in here. And the last thing to do is to close her up. Dial in what I want to do here. I want to dehydrate. I want to dehydrate. I want to do it for 4 hours. Whoops, 4 hours. And I want to do it for 170 degrees. There we go. See you in 4 hours. All right, my timer has gone off. So let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, they shrank a lot. Looking good though. Oh yeah, looks good. Okay, well, I'm gonna back out here. All right, so here's the taste test. Texture's good. Please excuse the chewing noise. The Cowboy Candy flavor comes through. A little bit of heat from the jalapenos. Awesome. All right. The only thing left to do is bag it up and get it in the fridge. I wanted to mention to you, I've been talking about Cowboy Candy all along through this whole video, but I never mentioned the recipe. The recipe is pretty simple. It's calls for a cup of sugar and a half a cup of ACV, that's apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of chili pepper, which is optional by the way, but I put it in there. Then a quarter teaspoon of ginger and a quarter teaspoon of turmeric. Now I doubled this recipe, so obviously just do the math, because once I realized that I was going to turn this into a jerky recipe, I wanted more marinade to cover all of my strips of meat, so I doubled that recipe. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. Please come back next week for another Carnivore Confidential video. In the meantime, stay hungry, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming by.